Welcome to the setting of Mersin province, and the city of Mersin itself, a population of around 1 million, known as the Pearl of the Mediterranean, on the beautiful seaside coast, the longest seaside in Turkey, and this pretty well the longest Gymnastics World Cup event of the year, because all of the finals happen one after t'other rather than split across 2 days. This area is known for its extraordinarily fertile soil, and so much richness of harvest has been taken since antiquity. It is time then to harvest something else, to harvest your place in the gymnastics record books, to harvest precious metals and to get onto a World Challenge Cup podium. We resume with the women's balance beam competition in just a moment or two. It'll take place with the men's vault final, still rings and horizontal bar, and the women's floor still to come. The start list for the women's balance beam competition, and we'll be getting underway with Vivi Nieminen of Finland, who was a reserve who came into the vault final and acquitted herself well. Anna Barbosu of Romania, the top performer in qualification. Well, Romanians balance beam, it sort of goes together, doesn't it? And she may well take the title here and make it 2 out of 2. She'll have to contend with the challenge of her own teammate Andrea Preda, who was the second best performer in the preliminary round. But Barbosu had a massive lead of almost a mark over the peloton. The start list for the men's vault competition, and the top performer in the qualification round, Gabriel Burtanete of Romania, the junior world champion in 2019 and the junior European champion in this building a year later. And can he produce quality to defeat the likes of Adem Asil? Meanwhile, there is Anna Barbosu, followed by Lucia Riba, the final two competitors in this women's balance beam competition. We're going to see some familiar faces from earlier in the competition. But a first appearance of Lai Pinju of Chinese Taipei, who is a very fine gymnast on the balance beam. She was a bronze medalist at the Asian Championships in Bangkok in 2017. Everywhere you go in this part of the world, there is remnants of antiquity, extraordinary artifacts, extraordinary archaeological finds. But this is very much the modern era of gymnastics, very different from its classical form. This is the apparatus system of gymnastics that really won out in a battle between the Swedish free system and the German apparatus-based system many years ago, many years before these young individuals were born. Not that I was around then, I'm sounding like it, I'm aware of that, but it's a fascinating period of gymnastics history to look back at the battle between the Swedish free system and the apparatus system, and indeed to how gymnastics was practiced in the ancient world when this was a part of Europe that was visited by just about every single traveller from all of the classical civilizations. It's more than an enjoyable brief dalliance to look into the history of Mersin province, the Çukurova region of the south of Turkey. Itself an extraordinary part of the world. South of Turkey, it's home to one of the most extraordinary colonies of migratory birds in the world. 250 species that head between Africa and Europe and make their home here. We'll consider this a migratory stop, perhaps en route to the north of Europe, to Liverpool, to the World Championships taking place at the end of the month. And the World Cup season did have an early stop in Cairo. We look out over the Mersin Gymnastics Hall that was built for the Mediterranean Games in 2013. And if you look back to that Mediterranean Games, it was in so many ways the starting point for the great Turkish generation, the golden generation that is coming through, that's at the height of its powers and that shows little sign of being on the wane. Just when people were starting to wonder, is the Turkish gymnastics force really at about its height? A young gentleman called Adem Asil turned up with his bags packed, having made his way from another great ancient city, Alexandria in Egypt, which they call Iskandar, I believe, in these parts. And he turned up having left his family, left everything behind, with a dream of becoming one of the greatest in the world. And he arrived in Turkey, and it's happened. We'll see him in this vault final. First of all, to Ye Cheng of Chinese Taipei, the fourth best performer in qualification. He made his senior international debut at the World Cup in Sombate last week. 20-year-old had a tricky competition. Let's see what he produces. And he's a little compressed on his Kasamatsu 1.5. Just a sense of crumpling of his legs as he lands. Kasamatsu 1.5, a 5.2 difficulty vault. We will see gymnasts attempting 5.6 difficulty vaults. If you finish facing the table with the extra half twist in the Kasamatsu style vault, then you're looking at a 5.6, so 4/10 added for that extra half twist. He will be down from the 9.2 execution score in the preliminary round, Ye Cheng. He was the first reserve for the vault final at the Youth Olympic Games as well in Buenos Aires back in 2018. 13.1 is the score for Ye Cheng. Regrettably, that's a loss of 1.2 marks from the preliminary round. What a nice stuck landing for his second vault. Not an enormous difficulty score. Will come for that, but he had lovely elevation and it was well executed. He had a 9.55 for the execution in qualification, a 4 difficulty score. Now we go to Vivi Nieminen of Finland, on the balance being the 8th strongest in qualification. Does well to stabilise, being slightly offline coming out of the walkover. On the whole, this has looked quite secure from the 20-year-old. Again, that's well rescued. A lot of gymnasts would have come right off the apparatus. She will take substantial deductions for it. Time is really ticking away. Not going to have much time to really set for the dismount. Simple to conclude the routine from Vivi Nieminen. A slight look of frustration on her face perhaps as Ye Cheng scores 13.35 for the second vault. And we go to Emil Akhmejanov of Kazakhstan. Now, here's a gymnast who had 2 5.2 difficulty vaults in qualification. He's only 17, senior international debut for this young athlete. And isn't that very nicely done? That's his Kasamatsu 1.5, exactly the same vault that we saw for the first from Ye Cheng. Totally different sense of landing though. Although it's the first time we've seen him at international level in a senior competition, he was the all-around silver medalist and vault bronze medalist at the Gymnasiade in May, the event for school students. So he absolutely has identified himself as a promising junior. Converting that to the senior circuit isn't always easy. Rotates that rather nicely. Now, the second vault is going to be interesting as his score of 14.35 comes in, because this was the vault that in qualification he did find a little tricky. Had a difficulty score of 5.2, but an execution score of 8. Going for the Roche, and it's the same sort of outcome for Emil Akhmedjanov. That Roche vault is a difficult one to learn and to get stabilised early on in your career. The second competitor on the balance beam is Aida Baryzhanova of Kazakhstan. 5th strongest in qualification. She won a silver medal at the Islamic Solidarity Games. 24-year-old with a lovely mount. There's a certain authority to this display. What a nice routine from Aida Baryzhanova of Kazakhstan. Now we will see higher difficulty to come, but a good case has been made by the experienced gymnast as Vivi Nieminen scores 11.2, so she is down in execution by 4.5 tenths. Emil Akhmedjanov scores a 13.35 for the second vault, so it was better than in qualification. 13.85 the average for Akhmedjanov, as we look at Salim Nagouj of Jordan, who won his first international honours last weekend in Sombate, a bronze medal on vault. Let's wish him well in this final. So, Salim Nagouj of Jordan. Now, he was indicating on the scoreboard a Lopez vault, Kasamatsu double. Certainly didn't execute that here. Went for the 1.5 twisting Kasamatsu. Well, it's no problem, of course, to put up a different vault. In qualification, he did the 5.2 vault. So this is what we expected to see. 21-year-old is from another ancient city, a city that makes Mersin look positively modern. Amman, capital of Jordan. He does seem to make it into finals in ancient cities. He did it in Cairo. He's done it here. So if you want Salim Nagouche to do well, just hold the competition somewhere that isn't Milton Keynes. 14.25 for Salim Nagouche for his first vault. Way better than qualification. He's up by well over half a mark. Now this, his second vault, carried a 4.8 difficulty score in the preliminary round, so he's giving away a little difficulty if he does the same. Yes, and he opts for the double twisting Yurchenko vault, so that is a 4.8 difficulty. Aida Barujanova scores 12.2. She's up by half a tenth from the preliminary round. Takes the lead. Now to Andreea Preda of Romania. Second strongest performer in qualification. She's competed in her first international finals at senior level this weekend. Lovely acrobatic sequence. Very good line. Yes, that's a good dismount from Andreea Preda. In terms of the difficulty of that routine, it should be far and away beyond what we've seen so far. Salim Nagouche scores a 13.7 for his second vault. So 13.975 for Nagouche. He goes into the lead. Adem Asil of Turkey. Third strongest in qualification, but he's certainly got difficulty to win this. He had problems with the first vault in the preliminary round, didn't land it. We know, though, he's a huge vaulter. Wow, that is absolutely enormous amplitude. That'll be interesting to look back at his landing. Doesn't look to be okay, does he, Adem Asil? Let's look back at this again. It was very low on the landing. Goodness me, he does get enormous, enormous amplitude. Double pike, and he does sit it down. The Risei Guang vault. Extraordinarily difficult vault to do. Now we're heading to the balance beam to Lai Pinju of Chinese Taipei, the third strongest in qualification, the bronze medalist at the Asian Championships some 5 years ago. And she was right at the start of her senior career. She's now 20. She has a very smooth style on the apparatus. Lai Ping-ju was an excellent dismount. We'll bring you the score for Andrea Preda just as soon as we can. Now, 13.65 for the first vault from Adam Asil. Actually was a Blahnik handspring double front in the pike position. He didn't put the half out in that would have made it the Risei Guang, the 6.0 difficulty, which is what he was indicating, as we see a 12.6 for Andrea Preda, and that is how things stand at the moment in the men's vault competition, with Adam Asil having another vault to come, but he may well not be doing that next vault. Hard to tell. He certainly looked to be sitting down a moment ago. It just seemed to look almost jarred as he came out of it, and you wonder if he actually was intending the Risei Guang. That's what was up on the board. That's the 6 difficulty vault. Maybe just got lost in the air a fraction, a slightly jarred landing. With the World Championships coming up, it looks as though the decision's been taken for him to not vault again. And certainly if there's any issue with his condition after that first vault, it's wise absolutely for him to not continue. Whether there's a World Championships on the horizon or not, just from a safety point of view. But he didn't look right, did he, at all from the moment that he left the mat. I can't recall ever seeing Risei Guang, Adam Asil execute a Blahnik rather than the Risei Guang. We'll come back to that in a moment. 12.9. And that's why it does seem, as Lai Ping-ju goes into the lead in the women's balance beam competition, that there was some issue with Adam Asil in the air. Maybe he just loses his way trying to get the half turn put in and accidentally executes a Blahnik vault named after Leszek Blahnik of Poland. He was the Olympic champion in 2008. I don't see his vault very often. Well, I suspect all I've done really there is throw up more questions for you than I have answers, but with the World Championships so close, you just have to hope that all is well for Adam Asil. Just remind you that I don't think anyone has competed more internationally this summer than he has. One hopes it will not lead to a winter of discontent after the championships are over. Hope that he can peak at the World Championships, as clearly every gymnast dreams of doing. Peaking in the women's balance beam competition, it's Lai Ping-ju, second place Andrea Preda. Great pickup from Lai Ping-ju of 3.5 tenths from qualification. Aida Barujanova is in third position. In the men's vault competition, Salim Nagouj leads the way. Second place, Emil Akhmejanov. I just have to say a quick word, actually, from a general safety point of view. It's a great thing to see Adam Asil not do that second vault, because we've had a couple of instances this season where gymnasts have got up after a very bad landing and then tried to do a second vault. And naturally one's instincts as an elite athlete, as any elite athlete will tell you, is to carry on and get up and go on. It's really good to see his coaching staff helping him make that decision to just pause and step away. Now stepping up is Gabriel Bertonete of Romania. Top qualifier, 2 5.6 difficulty vaults in the preliminary round. Very good vaulting to begin. That was the Lopez, that's the Kasamatsu double. We saw Salim Nagouj indicate the Kasamatsu double on the board, but he did just do the 1.5. The Lopez vault, named after the Cuban Eric Lopez, has that extra half turn Gabriel Bertinette has executed it very well, so he's already 4/10 up on many of his competitors in difficulty. He won the European Championship Junior title, exactly where he's standing now in 2020. And that was after becoming the Junior World Champion in Hungary. So he's a wonderful vaulter. .14.75, exactly as in qualification. What lovely consistent vaulting from Gabriel Bertinette. Now the second vault in the preliminary round was slightly lower scoring, 14.6. He took a 10th in penalty marks for transgressing outside of the tram lines. And he goes for the Dragulescu, and it's a very fine Dragulescu. Just seemed to just raise his left foot as he landed there. I worried for a moment that he jarred it, but he looks pretty happy, and he certainly will be when the score comes in, because that will go into the lead, no question. To Zala Trutnik of Slovenia on the balance beam. 7th strongest in qualification, score of 11.9. Didn't really have the right setup for the wolf turns. Such a difficult skill. So hard to keep the x-axis from not oscillating. Well, that was completely in line. That's a lot in that routine that really is promising from the youngster from Ljubljana. And that's a 14.7 for Gabriel Bertinette. That, alongside his 14.75, puts him very comfortably into the lead. We look now at Maximiliano Galicia from Mexico. He was actually born in Texas. He's based at the High Performance Center in Mexico City. And he, like Bertinette, competed at the Junior World Championships in 2019, where he was a top 15 performer on vault. His highest difficulty vault will be by some way the first, we anticipate. So he employs the Kasamatsu 1.5. Wasn't perhaps quite as tidy as some of the Kasamatsu vaults that we've seen so far. The vault named after Kasamatsu Shigeru, a gymnast who competed at the Olympic Games in Munich, won a full set of colours there. He's now at 75. And interestingly, when you look at his collection of medals, most of them were not in the vault, although he was the world champion in 1974. Second vault coming up for Maximiliano Galicia. And that was a secure second vault, exactly the same as we saw from Ye Cheng. So at the moment he doesn't have 2 vaults of huge difficulty to put him onto an international podium, but he's got a safe second vault, and a safe second vault will always beat one that you're not sure of that gets you into trouble. He's a good all-around gymnast as well, Galicia. He was 4th at the National Championships in Guadalajara in May. Chatting away to herself is Barbara Mokosova of Slovakia, who is a very fine gymnast on the balance beam. She comes into this as the 6th strongest performer in qualification. The graduate of sports science at Comenius University. As Zala Trutnik scores 10.75. The loss of the full mark for the unintentional dismount from the apparatus, sending that down by just over a mark from qualification. She has a little problem with the switch leap mount. Very quick walkover, that was nicely done then. An unexpected little adjustment. She uses the height gainer dismount. Barbara Mokosova of Slovakia, 2-time Olympian. 13.05 for the second vault from Maximiliano Galicia. Now we move to Leandre Sauvé of Canada. Silver medalist at the World Cup in Sombate last week. Second best in qualification here. Yes, that really is nice vaulting. That's the Schufelt vault for Yurchenko 2.5. And it is named after his great predecessor in Canadian vaulting, the one and only Kyle Schufelt. He gets good amplitude, Leandre Sauvé. And if you want to learn all about the process that Kyle Schufelt went through to devise that eponymous skill, do have a read of his book. It's very interesting. Came out a couple of years ago, called Make It Happen. It's a fantastic documentary process, really, of the trials and tribulations of being an elite level sports person. It's written with a wonderful honesty, and gymnasts like Leandre Sauvé look up so hugely to people like Kyle Schufelt. You'd almost be shocked if a great young Canadian vaulter like Sauvé didn't do a Schufelt vault. 14.4 the score. And we would expect now to see a Kasamatsu 1.5 from him if recent competitions are anything to go by. And that is exactly what we do see from Leandre Sauvé of Canada. Has he managed to get himself into contention? Barbara Mokosova scores 12.2. So that has her in joint third place with Aida Baruzanova before application of the tie-break criteria, which we'll come back to if we need to after Ana Barbosu, the top qualifier. So difficult was this routine in qualification that she could, in theory, come off the apparatus once and still win it. Not that she looked remotely likely after those first couple of elements. This is unnervingly steady. Beautiful wolf turns. Did take a little while to set herself for that, but she packs in more in the air than a lot of other gymnasts will do. Those extra half turns here and there that can make all the difference. You'd back her, and you'd be right too. That was very good from Ana Barbosu of Romania. Just a small side step as she lands. 14.25 for the second vault for Leandre Sauvé, and that puts him into second place. Now then, what will we see from this gentleman, Zheng Wei Sheng of Chinese Taipei? A little troubling to see the protection that he's got on his leg. I hope that he's okay. He won the title last week in Sombate with some spectacular vaulting. He can be a bit one thing or the other with little in between, Zheng Wei Sheng, and he's got room to pick up from fifth place in qualification. Let's see. Goodness me! Well, that is huge vaulting, indicating the Lu vault on the scoreboard. But certainly what we've just seen from him, a step up from that. Let's wait for the score to come in. Zheng Wei Sheng with an extraordinarily good piece of vaulting. .3, the score in qualification for the 24-year-old. 14.7 this time. Yes, he's gained 4 tenths. Now to his second vault. Very good score produced by Zheng Wei Sheng. Got himself very firmly in the conversation. Oh, that's unfortunate. It was just really off axis as he landed. over-rotated. Coming out of the pike position, you just worry about his left leg in a situation like that. Well, that ought to do it. 13.95. Anna Barbosu has just destroyed the mathematics of this women's balance beam final and gone so easily into the lead. She is a mark and 500ths ahead of the second place competitor. To the final gymnast, Lucia Hribar of Slovenia, the fourth strongest in qualification. Very tidy from Lucia Hribar. It'll be interesting to see if that's got the difficulty to contend. Now, what about Zheng Weisheng? Started with a 14.7, 13.5 for his second vault. And that means, therefore, that he's just about managed to get onto the podium. 14.1 his average score, just ahead of Salim Nagouj. So the difficulty paying off at Zheng. He had two 5.6 difficulty vaults, and look at that D score compared to Nagouj. There's more than one way to build a winning performance, even if you don't land it fully. Leandre Sauvé of Canada getting his second silver medal in the space of 7 days. Gabriel Bertonette of Romania with actually quite a comfortable win. And certainly from a technical standpoint, his vaulting really was just a joy to witness. Now we wait for the score for Lucia Hribar. At the moment it is Barbosu by a mark and then some. Laipinju, Andrea Preda, and Lucia Hribar has a score of 11.9. And we'll bring you the classified results in just a moment. The classified results in the men's vault competition, with the bronze medal going to Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei, the silver medal being won by Leandre Sauvé of Canada, the gold medal by a margin of 4/10 for Gabriel Bertonette of Romania. Doing that in the arena in which he won the junior European title in 2020. Well, we are working our way towards the conclusion of competition in Mersin. Just 3 finals of the 10 to come now. Well, we haven't got a full quota of finalists for the women's floor competition. We'll come back to that in a moment. Laipinju of Chinese Taipei is about to turn up. Sevgi Kayasolu of Turkey. Anna Barbosu is there, just in the wrong position. Lucia Hribar. Andrea Preda is there, and we also have the first reserve gymnast coming into play for this competition as well, and that is Ruby Stacey of Great Britain. Classified results, the women's balance beam competition. Andrea Preda of Romania winning the bronze medal, the silver going to Lai Pinju of Chinese Taipei, and the gold medal to Ana Barbosu. The list of finalists for the men's still rings competition. And all eyes will be on Ibrahim Çolak of Turkey. He has been the world champion. He's one of the absolute finest on this piece. He won the title in 2019. The start was for the women's floor final. And Ruby Stacey of Great Britain comes in as the first reserve. Top performer in qualification, Ana Barbosu of Romania. Is she going to win yet another title? Could she leave with 3 gold medals this weekend? Wouldn't that be absolutely extraordinary? So we'll get underway in just a moment. Still rings hugely popular in this country, courtesy of the great Ibrahim Çolak. But he's not been in the greatest of conditions recently. Broke his hand less than 3 months ago, and yet here he is back competing. It's something I don't think many people expected to see. Fans certainly are absolutely thrilled to have Ibrahim Çolak back competing in front of them. We have other contenders, including his own teammate Adam Asil, who was actually stronger than him in qualification. I think all of the romantics in the crowd want to see Ibrahim Çolak go ahead and take the title. Let's just remind ourselves of what the judges are looking for, particularly in the still rings. That a clear couple of seconds of maintenance of the strength holds is evident. Gymnast has got to really establish that strength position. And again, you're looking for lovely straight lines, good geometry, level shoulder presentation, and no adjustment, not hitting skills at the second or third time of asking. That's what their job is to assess. And that contrasted with the kineticism of the women's floor. We don't usually get to see these two finals running in tandem. It's a nice change of structure. Let's get underway in the men's still rings final. Akseli Karsikas of Finland, 20-year-old, was the 8th strongest in qualification. Half lever support is tidy looking. Goes through, this time into the straddle lever. Smooth looking into handstand. His difficulty isn't huge compared to what we'll see, but his execution is rather nice at the moment. Ooh. And then he just had to reset the handstand position, and that led unsurprisingly to a troubled dismount. And that's one of those occasions where one can see the prelude to the problem. Shame for the young man from Oulu, the largest city in the north of Finland. It's going to be the European capital of culture in a couple of years' time. On the subject of a cultured display, let's see Aida Barajanova of Kazakhstan on floor. She's the reigning Islamic Solidarity Games floor champion. Well, goodness, that was extremely surprising. Just seemed to lose a tumbling pass and didn't attempt it. 11.85 the score for Axeli Karsikas. Now we go to Razvan Denismark of Romania. 20-year-old, fifth strongest in qualification with a score of 13.7. It's a well-met handstand. Yamawaki to Jonasson. Half lever support. He's very overarched, my goodness me. Oh, that looked really quite troublesome. Almost went into an acrobatic gymnastics arched handstand. He does very well to land that dismount. That is an extraordinary recovery from Razvan Denismark. But he really did absolutely go into an almost 90-degree overarch position. Well, is it that sort of still rings final? To Anastasia Ananieva of Latvia on floor. A nicely performed routine by Anastasia Ananieva of Latvia, the teenager from Riga. She made her senior European Championship debut in Munich, as we have confirmation of a score of 12.3 for Aida Barujanova of Kazakhstan. Down from qualification by several tenths, as you would expect. 12.7 the score for Razvan Denismark. So he's down by a full mark from qualification. Now to Ibrahim Cholak of Turkey, the world champion. The first ever Turkish world champion. He won the title in 2019 in his 6th consecutive world championships. He also won the European title in this arena the year after. Since then, he's found it harder to come by big competition victories, but he's 3 times won the gold medal in the Mersin World Cup. Just has to really adjust to hold that position. Struggling a little to get that Maltese established. This is a gentleman who broke his hand 3 months ago. His planche was good. Yamawaki to Jonasson has great distinction to it. To the Maltese, to the Iron Cross, not quite the usual look of supreme control. There it is, that's the Cholak. That grin that we've come to expect and to love from him when he's competing. To be frank, one is just pleased to see him get through that routine after the injuries that he's been through of late. It is remarkable that he's here. 11.85 is the score for Anastasia Ananieva. Better than qualification by 0.2. Well done to her. An assured-looking display. Lai Pingju of Chinese Taipei. Very nice gymnast on floor. 7th best in qualification. It's a routine that works very nicely with the choice of orchestration. She's having a very good day in Mersin. Fine performance on the balance beam. Lai Pingju, we're starting to see her more and more in World Cup finals. 14.4 the score for Ibrahim Cholak. He's down by 4.5 from qualification. Did go up in difficulty, but the execution was substantially down. But it's just great that he's here and that he's okay after that performance. I think a lot of people were quite nervous ahead of this, knowing he was going to be competing, having had such a recent injury. Lin Guanyi of Chinese Taipei made his first final in Paris. He's the 3rd strongest in qualification. He was a top 15 performer on rings at the World Championships. Very nice iron cross. Opened up the fingers as well. Good symmetry and shape in his planche. Less tidy in that handstand. Just a fraction. Jonasson, then the Yamawaki. Not as common to do them in that order. Quite a big adjustment on his dismount, but it's very well performed with a lot of difficulty, and it is going to be a routine that may well be in contention. 12.15 for Lai Pingju. She's improved by 3.5 from qualification, just like we saw in the balance beam competition. Sevgi Kaysolo of Turkey, 17-year-old, 3rd strongest in qualification. What a great performance from Sevgi Kayasoglu of Turkey. Sense of musicality, of really nice choreography underpinning the whole routine, but crispness of gymnastic elements as well. On the subject of which, 14.5 for Lin Guanyi. He goes into the lead. He's just a tenth ahead of Ibrahim Cholak at the halfway mark. Still to come, though, we've got the top qualifier, Adam Asil. His qualification score 7/10 better than anything we've seen so far in the final proper. We'll also see David Huddleston, the Bulgarian-American who has been all over the world. He started gymnastics when he was living in the Caribbean in 2008, moved to Bulgaria to train. Felix Blaquier of Canada, bronze medalist in his World Cup debut in Slovenia earlier this year. He has been a junior medalist on the rings at the Pan American Championships as well. That was back in 2018 in Buenos Aires, a set-up event for the Youth Olympic Games to really test the arena. And to a gentleman who tends to pass most tests, Adam Asil of Turkey. He won a medal at the Mediterranean Games to start off his summer, a silver on the rings. He went to the Islamic Solidarity Games, he won the rings title, he went on to the European Championships, he came second. And the last gymnast will be Andrei Muntean of Romania, who was the Youth Olympic Games champion in 2010, the first ever Youth Olympic champion, no less. A lot has changed in his life since then. He's now 29, a graduate of sports psychology from the National Academy of Physical Education and Sport in Bucharest. He trains at the Dinamo Bucharest club, one of the most famous multi-sport clubs in the whole of Europe. Probably best known to many of you for its footballing exploits over the years. But we see quite a lot of the Eastern European gymnasts based at these big multi-sport institutions. A lot of the Hungarians train at the Ferencváros club, which again is also known for its association football exploits. And actually a lot of the Brazilian gymnasts are based at clubs like that as well. A number of the women's squad trains at the Flamengo club. There's a lot to be said for it as well. There have been examples of gymnasts starting in a different sport at the same multi-sport club, and a coach coming over and saying, actually, you shouldn't be a swimmer, or you shouldn't be a diver, or whatever, you might want to try gymnastics. That has happened to members of the Hungarian squad. David Huddleston will be the next to go in the still rings competition. 22-year-old, born in The Hague, has gone all over the world, but most crucially, he went to Tokyo last year. A nice Maltese. Just a little diagonal, slight drop of the hips, not much. Good iron cross. Very nice the way he opened up into the Yamawaki skill. It was a little low coming out of it though. His dismount was a touch low, leading to a big step forwards. Great to see David Huddleston in a still rings final in World Cup competition. Sevski Cayesolo scores 12.4. That's the best that we've seen so far. And now we go to Ana Barbosu of Romania. Top qualifier with 13.3. She's having a phenomenal competition. She really can tumble, can't she? Ana Barbosu of Romania. That was 95% of a very impressive routine, with a small problem that I'm sure you noticed as she headed out of bounds. 12.4 for David Huddleston. Even with the departure from the competition floor, it's not out of the question that she could win this. Félix Blaquière of Canada, the 21-year-old from Repentigny, one of the off-island suburbs of Montreal, 6th strongest in qualification with 13.6. Nice straddle planche. And what strength to clip those heels back together to go into the Maltese. Jonasson to Yamawaki. The Jonasson particularly looked lovely, like a diver. Really elegant. A little finesse coming out of the iron cross, that's nice. He really is very good. 21-year-old Félix Blaquière. The bronze medalist at the Copa World Challenge Cup. He demonstrated he was a Copa of the pressure of international competition. Now, we continue with Lucia Ribar of Slovenia, 6th best in qualification. Ask Lucia Riba what World Cup competitions mean to her, and you'll get an answer about how they have changed her confidence, how they've led her to develop. Now it's 12.9 for Ana Barbosu of Romania, down from 13.3 in qualification. Wonder if that slightly leaves the door open, as Felix Blaquier scores 13.85. So that puts him into third place. Lin leads on 14.5. Cholak second, 14.4. Blaquier third, 13.85. Here is Adam Asil, penultimate gymnast to go. Top qualifier, 15.2. He goes into the planche position in an almost infuriatingly gravity-defying way. It's effortless looking. Diagonal arm handstand. He opens up the body. That's a lot of strength. Jonasson into the Maltese. Good control in the iron cross. Shoulders level. Just a tiny raise of the back legs in the planche, that's all. Exemplary handstand. Looks like he could stay there all day. That one a tiny flicker. This is very good. That is excellent from Adam Asil of Turkey. This has not come easily. He once described his training process almost with a wry smile as difficult but beautiful. Really does put himself through it in training. He has enormously high standards of himself. Now, Andrea Preda of Romania scored 12.9 in qualification, second best. That's now the highest mark. There certainly will be Romanian success and a place on the podium. Lucia Riba with 11.7. So in the women's floor competition, it's Barbosu ahead of Kai Solo. As Adam Asil scores 15 and he goes into the gold medal position. He's guaranteed at least a silver with one to go. And here is the last gymnast looking for a score in excess of 14.4, and having scored 13.85 in qualification, Andrei Muntean of Romania, the first ever youth Olympic champion on the still rings. He again uses the diagonal armed handstand. Jonasson to Yamawaki to handstand. That was a very nice looking sequence. Oh, that's a good dismount from Andrei Muntean of Romania. Well, he's made a good case for himself right at the end. Going to be interesting to see the difficulty, because in qualification it was a 5.3 difficulty performance. We'll come back to that after the last performance in the women's floor competition. It's Ruby Stacey of Great Britain, the 17-year-old from Tavistock. She comes in as the first reserve for Chan Doan Quỳnh Nam of Vietnam. A gymnast who made her World Championship debut, and indeed her senior international debut at those World Championships last year. Andrea Preda with 12.65. So she goes into the silver medal position. And we finish now with Ruby Stacey. It's certainly not the easiest thing when you come into a final as the first reserve. But that's a strong performance from Ruby Stacey of Plymouth Swallows Gymnastics Club. 13.85 for Andre Mundian, exactly as he produced in qualification. Same difficulty score. Well executed performance though. And it means, therefore, that it's a very pleased Turkish contingent who sees Ibrahim Çolak take the bronze and Adam Asil win the gold medal, with Lin Guanyi in between the pair of them, just by a tenth over Ibrahim Çolak. Now, where does Ruby Stacey factor into the equation, with Barbosu in the lead, Preda in second place, and Caicedo occupying bronze? We'll come back to that in a moment, because it's time for the last final, and it is, of course, the traditional conclusion, the men's horizontal bar competition. Akseli Kavsikas will be followed by Josh Karns, Ivan Dejanovic of Serbia, Felix Blaquier of Canada, Bulgaria's Jordan Alexandrov, Razvan Denismark of Romania, Turkey's Adam Asil, and the top qualifier is Robert Tvorogal of Lithuania, who won the European Championship title in this arena in 2020. The first ever medal for Lithuania at the European Championships. Ruby Stacey is looking for a score in excess of 12.4, and she's just come in below that, 12.3. I thought it might be pretty close. And what a moment that is for Sevgi Caicedo of Turkey. We have confirmation of that 12.3 score for Great Britain's Ruby Stacey, who's done very well to come in as the first reserve and deliver that sort of performance. The classified results in the women's floor competition: the bronze medal to Sevgi Kaysolo of Turkey, the silver medal to Andreea Preda of Romania, and Anna Barbosu has done it again. Another gold medal. The list of finalists for the men's horizontal bar competition, and the top performer in qualification will go last, Robert Tvorigal of Lithuania. And so it is time to embark upon this last final, the men's horizontal bar. The first competitor is Akseli Karstikas of Finland, fifth strongest in qualification. And he really was never quite in control. That's a shame. Bit of a tricky day for this gymnast. He did so well at the Nordic Championships in July in Iceland. Won a team bronze medal and an individual one on the floor. First ever individual senior international medals, after he also took a team bronze at the Northern European Championships in Cardiff at the end of last year. That was his straight Kachev, now the straddle Kachev. And he dismounts well. The mechanics of it are largely very good. He was a silver medalist on the horizontal bar at the Nordic Youth Championships back in 2019. And he was barely in high school then. He's done very well, this young athlete from Pennsylvania, to make it into 3 finals in his first World Cup competition. A reminder of Akseli Karstikas' performance. Great dismount. Really nice way to remember his contribution. His biggest continental final was actually here in Mersin, in this arena, where he was 6th at the Junior European Championships. .9 is the score for Akseli Karstikas. To Joshua Carnes. The 18-year-old scored 13.1 in qualification, but there is potential for this to score actually significantly higher because his difficulty is good. He actually posted the highest difficulty score of any of the qualifiers. That said, we do know that in horizontal bar finals a lot can change. Starts with a one-arm giant swing. First big wind-up. He executes the Coleman but struggles a little coming out of it. Straight Kachev just loses his sense of swing coming down with the arms rather bent. Oh, what a straddle Kachev. He's a powerful lad. His in-bar work is elegant. Real travel away from the apparatus for that dismount. Joshua Carnes of the United States of America. He's had a very promising senior international debut. He was part of the junior team that won Pan American Championship gold last year. This is the second time he's competed in Europe. He was at a junior event in Berlin in 2017 where he actually won the horizontal bar title along with the all-around and the vault competitions. Just had some issues with a couple of his releases and catches early on in the routine. There, just swinging back out of the Coleman. And then as he goes on to produce this straight Kachev, there the arms don't quite do as he needs them to. But the straddle Kachev was a treat. And that was a nice feature of the routine as well, his in-bar work. He's involved in the sport of gymnastics because his elder sister Abby was a team gym competitor. Followed her into the sport. He scores 12.4, down by 0.7 from qualification. To Ivan Dejanovic of Serbia, the fourth best in qualifying. He's always just missed out on a World Cup medal. Can he get one here today? Straight Kachev just clears the bar. Big wind up into his straddle Kachev. But he was halfway out of the building with that. He did well to hold it. Lots of amplitude. It's a very nice pirouette. Really does dance across the bar. What a good routine that was from Ivan Dejanovic of Serbia. 23-year-old from the city of Novi Sad. He made his European Championship debut in this arena in 2020. He also competed in Munich, having missed out on the competition in Basel. He's made several World Cup finals, including finishing fourth, just one away from the podium in Koper. It means so much to him if he can just get onto the podium here. Let's have a look back at this performance from Ivan Dejanovic. Just about got his toes over the bar in the straight Kachev. That was very nice. That pirouette had a lightness of touch. Lots of height as well on his dismount. It's about finding that 45-degree angle sweet spot where you get enough height and enough travel away from the apparatus. 13.6 is his score. Very well done. His execution has gone up a lot from qualification. 3.5 tenths Felix Blaquier of Canada, 6th best in the preliminary round. 13.15. Not a huge degree of difficulty in qualification. Let's see if he adds anything to it in the final, if he really just goes for the execution mark. And he was off with the Coleman. And so a full mark will leave the score of Felix Blaquier. Gymnast who wasn't too far away from a place on the podium in the Still Rings final. He will regrettably be a little further away this time. He's highly regarded all-rounder as well. He was 5th at the National Championships. The traditional Kovac. Piked Kachev. All of these are going pretty smoothly, and there's the straddle Kachev after it. It's another very nice dismount. It's another case of what might have been. Felix Blaquier. That takes us to the halfway mark already of this men's horizontal bar final. We have now just 4 performances to come on this big day of gymnastics in Mersin, Turkey. A reminder of what we've just seen from Felix Blaquier. Super finish. Easy lead at the moment for Ivan Dejanovic at the halfway mark. It will likely stay that way. Factoring in Blacquier's lost mark, we have Jordan Alexandrov, Radvan Denismark, Adam Asil and Robert Tvoregal to come. 12.2 for Felix Blaquier. Well, he is now in 3rd position. Touch warm-ups taking place for the other gymnasts. The last 4 of them. And a chance for us to pause for a moment and rub our hands with excitement at the World Championships coming up at the end of the month, and the opportunity to see the very finest from every corner of the globe descending on the city of Liverpool. It's going to be quite busy, Liverpool, in the next little while. It's hosting the Eurovision Song Contest as well next year. Forget all this World Championship gymnastics nonsense, that's what really matters. Only joking. Well, I'm not really. Eurovision's a wonderful event. If you're not a fan of the Eurovision Song Contest, you really should be. I recommend it thoroughly. There is a good crossover, actually, between gymnastics fans and Eurovision Song Contest fans. So why not go to Liverpool for the World Championships and just stay there until next year and enjoy the spectacle of Eurovision 2023. No shortage of things to occupy your time in Liverpool. They say it's a very friendly city. Well, you know what they say about Liverpool, you'll never walk alone. Jordan Alexandrov next to go in the men's horizontal bar final. That is how things look at the moment. Even Dejanovic, hasn't he done well to lead this at the halfway mark? The question is now whether he can hold on. Never won an international medal, and he's leading. Just imagine poor old Ivan Dejanovic right now will just want this second half of the competition to finish as quickly as possible, so he knows. To Jordan Alexandrov of Bulgaria, the third best in the preliminary round. Gymnast who moved to the United States of America, to California in 2002. He's based in Santa Rosa. He was a collegiate champion on the horizontal bar during his university days. Straight Kachev has no real issues. Straddle likewise. Had a sense of fluency to it. Pirouette was well controlled. This is certainly contending, especially after that. What a landing from Jordan Alexandrov of Bulgaria. He taught himself to read and write in Bulgarian because he didn't ever want to lose sight of his origins. His father, Dimitar, was a member of the national team, actually coaches him. His mother, a gymnastics coach and former professional rock climber. A lot has changed in his life since he was a young lad who sat in the back of a first grade elementary school class for a third of a year before anyone noticed that he couldn't speak English, before anyone took the time. And like so many people, gymnastics has been for him his way into his new world. It's been where he's found his place. Now, what's his place going to be when the score comes in? It is Dejanovic who leads. Khan's in second place, a vulnerable second place, really, with Khan's 12.4. There we go, a new leader. 13.7, Jordan Alexandrov. He adds 0.2 to his difficulty from the preliminary round. Razvan Denismark of Romania. 7th best in qualification. That's a big old Kovac to get us underway. Straight Kachev. Was executed with precision. Straddle Kachev had a big sense of amplitude. Good routine this so far. Just takes a pace as he lands, but otherwise performed well by Razvan Denismark, the 20-year-old from Arad in the west of the country. Romania has just recently been announced as the host nation for the the World Junior Championships of Rhythmic Gymnastics next year, with Cluj-Napoca hosting that, well-known gymnastics city. A very nicely executed straddle Kachev from the 20-year-old. He always seemed in control of that performance. It was a calm display. $13.55, good reward for Razvan Denismark. He gains 1/10 of difficulty, 3.5 of execution, and he goes into the bronze medal position. To Adam Asil of Turkey. So it's Alexandrov, Dejanovic and Mark with 2 to go. Second strongest qualifier, Adam Asil. That's what you call a straight Kachev. That's what you call a straddle Kachev. Into another Kachev. Linking the elements. And dismounting well. That's good from Adam Asil of Turkey. And the connection of the Kachevs could be important in his overall score. Gymnast who won the bronze medal on the horizontal bar at the European Championships just after he'd qualified for the Olympiad. He just has the most extraordinary sense of indefatigability about him. When you think that he didn't look quite right at the conclusion of the vault competition, and he's still come out and produced what he has done on the still rings and here. A charming picture of a couple of empty chairs. I was expecting something to happen there. Well, next in the hot seat, it's going to be Bobby Tvorogal of Lithuania. But he's come to this place before and he's done okay. European champion in 2020. Feels rather nice that he'll be the last gymnast that we get to see. There is the lead. 14.05, Adam Asil. A 9.05 execution. To Robert Tvorogal of Lithuania, top qualifier, but he now needs to gain 2 plus tenths if he's going to take the title. Kachevs have been at the heart of his work. Very intricate work close to the apparatus. Lots of height on his Kachev. And his dismount also very stable. It's a nice conclusion to the gymnastics action here in Mersin, where he has been so successful. Adam Asil leads, 14.05. Jordan Alexandrov second, 13.7. Even Dejanovic third on 13.6. Is Dejanovic going to end up dropping down into fourth place again, just as happened in Koper? Will Tvorogal get onto the podium right at the end? A lot of Tvorogal's difficulty comes from his close control work. We wait and wait. It's a nervous time to be Ivan Dejanovic. So let's have the soothing sounds of this classic Dire Straits track to gently ease the tensions. The question is, will Tvorogal move up? Will it be Here Comes Bobby singing oldies and winning goldies? It's going to be hard to beat Adam Asil. But he's been out there for years and years, Tvorogal, competing. So whether he wins or loses, he knows it's all part of the walk of life. Now, is he going to be saying woohoo when this score comes in? Let's see. Yes, he is! Well, from Bobby Tvoregal, it is a title once again in Mersin. 14.35, he adds 0.2 to his difficulty and a few more to his execution. That's a very well constructed routine from Robert Tvoregal. And he has won the title in the building where he became European champion. The classified results in the men's horizontal bar competition, with the bronze medal to Bulgaria's Jordan Alexandrov, silver to Turkey's Adam Asil, and the gold medal won with the final performance of the weekend, Lithuania and Robert Tvoregal. It's now time for the victory ceremony for the men's still rings competition, with the bronze medal being won by Ibrahim Çolak of Turkey. Back in business after a broken hand. That's not bad going at all. The bronze medalist at the Asian Championships earlier this year, Lin Guanyi of Chinese Taipei, takes the silver. But this was quite some display from the gentleman who made the Olympic final, Adam Asil of Turkey. It's been a year of taking still rings accolades at the Mediterranean Games, the Islamic Solidarity Games, and then the European Championships. And he is golden in Mersin, in his home country. Is he going to be a contender at the World Championships? That's the question. We'll find out soon enough. But first of all, let's have the national anthem of Turkey. Thoroughly entertaining still rings final. And there they are, the medalists at the Mersin World Challenge Cup. Poor old Lin Guanyi didn't quite know where to put himself for that photo. He can have his one as well. Quite right too. First World Cup medal for him. He looks pleased as punch. The victory ceremony for the women's balance beam competition, and the winner of the bronze medal, the 16-year-old Romanian Andreea Preda. Great way to mark her first ever senior international finals. A good day in Mersin. She takes home a bronze medal. Lai Pinju of Chinese Taipei wins her first ever FIG World Cup medal, a silver. But it is Ana Barbosu of Romania who takes another title. A brilliant performance from her. This was an absolutely emphatic victory. 13.95. She was over a mark ahead of second place. It was quite simply a balance beam final that was never hanging in the balance. And we'll have now the national anthem of Romania. The medalists in the women's balance beam competition at the Mersin World Challenge Cup of Artistic Gymnastics. Now to the victory ceremony for the men's vault competition. Winner of the bronze medal, Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei. Very high difficulty first vault, helping him to just about get onto the podium. 2 medals in a week for him after taking the title in Sombate. And it's 2 medals in the space of a week for Leandre Sauvé of Canada too, after the silver medal he won in Sombate. But as the old saying goes, when I was a boy I won childish things, such as the Junior European Championship title in this building. Now I'm a man, I've returned to win the senior title at the Mersin World Challenge Cup. Something like that anyway. Gabriel Bertinette, the young senior, coming back to the scene of one of his great triumphs at junior level to take World Challenge Cup gold. He's certainly a vaulter to really keep a close eye on, and Romania have produced some excellent vaulters over the years after all. And we'll now have the national anthem of Romania. The medalists in the men's vault competition at the Mersin World Challenge Cup of Artistic Gymnastics. And I think somebody might possibly have forgotten to turn the volume up there for the Romanian national anthem at the start. They need some lessons in amplitude from Gabriel Bertonette. Certainly demonstrated that en route to taking the title. Some lovely work. A high degree of difficulty too. That leaves us with two more victory ceremonies to enjoy, the women's floor and then the men's horizontal bar, to close out our coverage from the Mersin Gymnastics Hall. And then it will be the end of the last World Cup event before the World Championships. The victory ceremony in the women's floor competition, and a great moment for Sevgi Kayasoglu of Turkey, her first international honours. The winner of the silver medal, Andreea Preda of Romania, completing an excellent day of competition for her, getting onto the podium yet again. But there is no doubting the star attraction in women's competition here in Mersin. 3 gold medals for Ana Barbosu of Romania. She has absolutely dominated. This is where she was the star of the Junior European Championships in 2020. You don't always come back to establish yourself as a senior, but she's done it here, just as her teammate Gabriel Bertonette has done as well. And whenever a Romanian gymnast wins a title, gymnastics fans start to think maybe, just maybe, the great comeback is about to begin. We'll have once again the national anthem of Romania. The medalists in the women's floor competition. And what an outstanding weekend of gymnastics it's been for Romania, and for one particular gymnast, Ana Barbosu. We finish then with the men's horizontal bar victory ceremony. We seem to be at the dramatic pause stage of the day. The winner of the bronze medal, Bulgaria's Jordan Alexandrov, an excellent pickup from qualification for him. First time on the podium this season at World Cup level. Adam Asil of Turkey, the winner of the silver medal. The title, however, won by Robert Tvorogel of Lithuania. He really did step up to the challenge laid down by Adam Asil. You'd expect it in a competition like this, wouldn't you? Tvorogel raised the bar. It is a third World Cup title for Robert Tvorogel. His 9th medal overall and 2nd of the season in horizontal bar gymnastics. And that will feel very good, won't it, ahead of the World Championships for a gymnast who was so frustrated with himself at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. We'll have now the national anthem of Lithuania. The medalists in the men's horizontal bar competition at the Mersin World Challenge Cup of Artistic Gymnastics. And as the medalists depart, then so must we. It is time to head to the port in Mersin, to head through unpredictable waters as the ocean turns colder, and to find our way to the Mersey, where the faint sounds of Jerry and the Pacemakers are echoing out and the Liverpool World Championships are about to begin. It's time for these gymnasts to walk on with hope in their hearts, to join together as a community, because in Liverpool you never walk alone, and we'll see you there.